86 M-Star here. Today we're going to ride around on 2015 Honda Grom. I bought this bike new in 2015, and since we've purchased it, we've put about 1,500 miles on it. So this bike's not got a lot of miles put on it. This is the second one of these we've owned. The first one we had was involved in an accident, and we no longer have it. The purpose of this bike really, when we bought it, was so that my wife would have a small bike to learn how to ride on, and then to just generally mess around on. These bikes are a lot of fun to just act like a hooligan on. Top speed on this bike's about 55 mile an hour. It gets there reasonably quick, so keeping up with traffic in town isn't a problem. Highway riding can be very problematic though, especially if there's hills involved. It will pull hills decently well in town, but if you get a headwind or a hill on the highway, you're going to lose that 55 mile an hour relatively quickly, and you'll just basically be in everybody's way. But again, for riding this thing around town, man, it is just a blast to ride. The cost of this bike is a little bit expensive for what it is. Check local listings. That being said, it's a Honda, and I'll talk to this a little bit too, because one of the things everybody wants to say when you talk about you're buying a name brand this or name brand that, rather than buying, say, some Chinese 125cc scooter or miniature motorcycle, whatever you want to call it, what you're getting is the Honda warranty. And we're going to talk about that, because I don't think that that's fair to say that, and you're going to pay that premium for the Honda and the Honda reputation, which you're getting all that, but that warranty isn't what you think it is. Read the warranty when you go to buy a 125, or in Honda's case, I can't speak to Kawasaki or any other ones. I haven't checked their warranties, but I own a couple Hondas that this affects. The 125 and the 300 both are 1 year only warranties, so keep that in mind when you're factoring in what you're getting for your money. And I'm not saying this is a bad deal. I bought two of them and I love it, but keep in mind you're only getting a year warranty on this bike, which seems a little bit low that they wouldn't stand behind their product for longer than that, especially when you consider, and I don't have the statistics, I can make some stuff up on the spot like 90% of all statistics are, but I'll say this: most of these 125s and 300cc bikes, these aren't high mileage bikes. These aren't bikes that are getting a lot of miles put on them. So what you're talking about is Honda not standing behind this product for a number of mileage. It's just a year, which, how many miles are you going to put on a little bike in a year? Well, for me, it's not many. It's maybe 3,000 miles on a bike. In this case, on this Grom, we've had it a full riding season. We rode it for a full riding season, and it got 1,500 miles put on it. So essentially the warranty was only good for 1,500 miles. So weigh that. I only spoke to that because I feel like it's a deal, and it could be a deal breaker for you. A couple of the other little quirks about this bike. I'm not going to do a motorcycle review on this, because I think that's unfair. This isn't really meant, in my mind, it's not really meant to be a motorcycle. It's meant to be a toy, a pit bike, a mini bike, something to just rip around town on and have fun. So to compare it against something that you would, in theory, take out on a day trip or whatever. And that's not to say you can't. The first one we had, I did some long miles. I'd also taken that down to Deals Gap the 2014 that we owned previous to this, I had taken down to Deals Gap and actually rode it down there, and it was a blast to ride. But that being said, you're generally not going to have this bike to put a lot of miles on it and spend a lot of time in the seat. And it's a good thing too, because this seat is not a comfy seat. I rode it around today quite a bit and remembered why I don't spend a lot of time in this seat. You sit right on your tailbone. It's just not a very comfortable seat. Also, another problem with this seat is it's really hard to get it off and on. There's not any space underneath the seat for storing anything, but if you're screwing off like you're going to be doing on this bike and Johnny Law shows up, he's going to want your paperwork, and while you're already frustrated and trying to deal with that, good luck getting the seat open so you can give him the registration. I guess another little ding on the Grom is the janky exhaust pipe. This isn't stainless or anything underneath this painted exhaust pipe. It's just stamped metal or whatever, stamped steel, and it has a tendency to rust. And all the ones that I've seen, mine, both of mine, all the ones that I've seen out, all the videos I've watched of other people, everybody has a problem with these things rusted. So if you're not going to put aftermarket exhaust on this, well, at some point you're going to have to do something because it will rust out. Other than that, I mean, obviously I've beat it up enough, because with all this being said, I'll go back to you. I can't figure out a more fun way to, you know, have a blast around town. I like to compare it to when, you know, I was a kid and I got my first 10-speed bike, and I was all happy to get a 10-speed bike and I could go so much faster and I had gears and all that and that feeling. And then you start riding your 10-speed bike, and a couple years later, you just happen to drag your old BMXer back out of the garage and go blast around the neighborhood on it. And you're like, oh, wow, this is so much fun. I can just put it anywhere. I can jump curbs. I can do whatever I want with it. It's that same kind of thing. You just treat this much more different than you do a, quote, real motorcycle. Anyway, thanks for coming by and going for a ride with me today. I want to throw out a special thanks to Mickey for her riding on this, and also to Cappy for his hooliganism. Also, I want to thank Mad Dog for the extra camera work. I'm going to roll in some extra footage at the end of this video, and you guys are more than welcome to stick around and watch as long as you like. Thanks again for coming.
How's that wind? Freezing.